Hi there, I'm Brecken Chinn Swartz, and I teach in the Department of Communication at Curry College in Milton, Mass. And if you think about it, today's educators are really kind of the most interesting generation of educators perhaps in the history of humankind because of the vast revolution that's happened in the instructional modalities that we were taught with as young people and the modalities, the myriad modalities that exist today. I guess what Gumpert and Cathcart would call the media generation. In terms of this big shift that's happened, I remember being taught with books and course packs, and I remember even the mimeograph machine and the way that the paper used to smell when it came off, and the teacher gave us these worksheets like blue ink on white paper, and that was a big deal at the time. And today we have a lot of choices available to us in the classroom, and I think there's a resistance to the sense of pandering and just going for the quick bit, the easy thing, the stuff that students are used to. And so I wanted to throw some theoretical questions into the debate to see what really comes out of it. I don't think we really know yet how consciousness is shifting among young people as a result of using kind of this constant connectivity and online communication, social networking. And as we explore these, I'm very interested in seeing how we adapt these decisions into the classroom. The reality is we have students using their devices often in the classroom, their attention span seems to be decreasing, and we're having to reconsider how we are as educators. There used to be this ideal of the professor at the podium delivering content and students scribbling notes and giving insightful comments from their readings. And now I think what we're seeing is that transmission model of education is contested. And so I'm really going to be using James Carey's ritual notion, ritual view of communication in terms of ourselves as educators in an environment, in a communication environment where we have strategic decision-making to do in terms of the modalities that we will use to educate. And so I'm going to refer to old school technologies, books, course packs, printed things, very linear, word-based delivery mechanisms. And then new school ranges all the way into, of course, video kinds of storytelling and audio, all of the possibilities now available with video and audio, but more into the kind of fractal consciousness that is generated by social networking, wikis, going from this concept into that concept rather than following an author's full linear argument. And so I think that the theories that really come up to me as relevant to this debate is the elaboration likelihood model put forward by Petty and Cacioppo in the 80s. And they talked about the central root of processing, although we're talking about persuasion. If you think about it, education is kind of persuading people into habits of mind and skills and thought patterns. And so that central root being the very effortful, requiring attention and focus and critical scrutiny of arguments, being one modality of instruction or persuasion, if you think about the fine line there. And then the other root of persuasion being the peripheral root, which has a lot more to do with the characteristics of the environment in which it's delivered, the attractiveness of the modality through which the content is delivered. And of course, it can lead to mental shortcut taking if that is a habit of mind that is reinforced and reinforced without any central root skills really being delivered in the classroom. So there has been talk, and I keep hearing this term hive mind. I keep hearing it from the hive of social networking that I'm connected to, and I'm having trouble finding the origins of that term. Certainly you can think of Durkheim's collective consciousness, and there's been a lot of discussion about the success of wiki-based ways of disseminating information, actually forming and transforming knowledge. If you think about Wikipedia and its ability to be more nimble than the Encyclopedia Britannica, which was developed by people, and then disseminated, that transmission model. And really thinking of ourselves in a hive mind environment, inviting students into that cybernetic view of themselves as participants in an ecology of information sharing and generation, and using the classroom experience to both develop those central root processing skills of following arguments enough to even respond to them, and then also being able to do more fractal experiences where they can get into a concept and then go from here to there to here to there. And I think some of the issues that come up for us is thinking about the sensory impact of the medium itself. Holding a device, sitting with a screen, is it some kind of medium that you can actually take outside into nature? Putting students in front of computers all the time, they tend to be plugged into things, and now that we can actually go outside and be in nature and be on the internet at the same time, how does that ecological shift affect the use that the medium can be put to? Also, the kinds of invitations we're making in terms of connectivity with others. Are they using the technology to communicate with each other in their environment, in a broader environment, in a world environment? Older people, younger people, and also the connectivity among the concepts. How far, in terms of the amount of time that we're inviting a concept to be considered, what is that doing to the consciousness of the student themselves and their ability to develop a lengthy argument? And I think there's also issues around locus of control. When a student has felt that they've discovered information, the sense of efficacy and control and achievement that is fostered by the student feeling like they found the information and dug it out, as opposed to sitting with a textbook and receiving this kind of, down from Mount Sinai experience of, the authors or the experts telling you what this field is about. And I find that to be increasingly challenging to get students to engage with a textbook. And I actually like the idea of inviting them to supplement the textbook experience with digging out information on their own. And how do we get them into those kind of environments and then weave it together with the book? And I also like to use what I call communication values. I developed these in my dissertation looking at broadcast journalism, but they really apply to any communication experience, and they have to do with the values that we are using to bring to the table. And I use culinary metaphors because if you think about feeding others and how central values are to the experience of bringing something to feed others with, I like to use these value categories. And they go like this. Aesthetics has to do with just the attractiveness and the pleasingness of the medium itself. The breadth in terms of its accessibility to everyone, really reaching out, kind of the pandering, everybody can get this one. Convenience, how many times do we have to get that article out by tomorrow's class, or the copy machine's not working, so we've got to throw it online, or whatever. Certainly the depth, the degree of rigor and thought-provoking complexity that we're inviting. The emotionality, how much do we want students to connect emotionally with the content? The freshness, is there something about the newness of either the modality or the content that we want to bring to the table? Germaneness, maybe it's relevant, maybe if we're teaching, using social networking and policing, obviously being trained in that technology and having experiences with that is important. Helpfulness, are we training students to also train others, to be able to work as teams and to be helpful in their information sharing behaviors? Incisiveness, are we trying to help them develop skills that are different from or supplemental to things that they would otherwise be getting? And then justice. We often have a lot of, fairness and inclusion kinds of considerations in the way that we deliver content to make sure that it's accessible to all. So as we look at the needs of our students as humans and as future citizens, trying to stay as abreast of technologies as possible can be a real challenge, and I know it is for those of us that were schooled very much in the old school. And so I just wanted to raise ELM and that central peripheral root dichotomy as a way of looking at what we're doing, and also invite us into thinking about the communication values that we're bringing to the table when we enter the classroom. And thanks very much.